Hi everybody, it's Russ and my Hammers 11. Hope you're all safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you're made aware anytime we put new content on. As always, this episode is brought to you by our channel sponsors, Untuckit. Check them out in the description below. They design all their clothes to be worn untucked, including their shirts and stuff like that. And so, even for me, they got some nice shirts and lots of different sizes, so check them out. Today's guest, actually, he's probably been the most requested guest in the last 3 weeks. There we go. I must have had 15 direct messages and people going, get Ben from CBeebies on. He's a West Ham fan, because obviously Ben put out a really fantastic video and a lot of coverage. Been busy man talking about all that type of stuff. But we're not going to talk about any of that type of stuff, because West Ham, that's the main thing. That was the first thing. It's like as soon as that video came on, he talked about his dad, what he got from his dad supporting West Ham, and he was like, "Oh my God, get Ben on!" So, Ben, for those of you who don't know Ben, you haven't probably got kids under the age of 8. Fair enough, innit?
It's fair enough, yeah. CBeebies is not to 6, and CBBC is a bit older, but yeah, eight's a good number.
8's a good number, yeah. So Ben is one of the presenters from CBeebies, and more importantly, irregardless of that, he's a West Ham fan, so that's why he's on the channel. How are we, Ben? How are things, man?
I'm good, thanks. How are you getting on?
I'm all right. We're hanging in there. Luckily, the schools aren't on lockdown yet, so yeah, that's thankful.
I know it's such a weird time, isn't it? Yeah, just trying to make the best of it, and doing stuff like this and being able to wear a West Ham coloured sweatshirt to talk to you is kind of what it's all about. So
I did notice that. I did notice a subtle West Ham coloured, that's what I try to do in my background. But my mother-in-law said it looked like I was in the girls' bedroom. But it's. I
was going to say it looks like you're in like a nightclub in Soho, to be honest. But
well, that's the thing, kinda. Yeah, I mean, as much as you can from in Hornchurch, but yes, it's You can't get a decent purple out of those RGB colours, but doesn't matter. I'd rather have this than a red or a blue, So
yeah, 100%.
We can only be dealt the hand we're dealt with, aren't we, Ben? We can only play that hand. So
I should have brought down. I've got a few like West Ham memorabilia things upstairs, including like a little West Ham teddy. So I should have had him just here, really.
Just in the back.
When I was a kid, when I was really young, my mum is amazing at making stuff with her hands. So like cross stitch and knitting, sewing, all kinds of just ridiculous. Like she can make me jumpers and all kinds of different things. But when I was really young, she made me 2 like West Ham little people. And one of them I was like, that's Trevor Morley, because he had like the dark hair that came down like this and went up. So I've got him somewhere upstairs. He's about 26 years old or something, but he's up there.
Bless him. And that's what I love about things like that. You sort of keep all these sort of mementos and memorabilia. It's like the other day, we obviously, with lockdown and everything, everyone sort of is clearing out all their wardrobes and stuff like that, aren't they? And stuff. And the amount of football shirt, and obviously, you find these football shirts and scarves I bought of 2006 FA Cup final, sort of pristine. And all my daughter's shirts as well. I must have kept them for some reason. So, little ones like, that and
tiny. Yeah, really I've got tiny. Some. I moved because my mum and dad have had all my stuff, because anytime I've lived anywhere, pretty much it's either been in a house share and I've had one room, or when I first moved up north with this job, I had a little flat that I rented. So they had all my stuff. And, my mum and dad will probably listen to this. So I should say they've still got quite a lot of my stuff, like
exactly,
and cricket stuff and all that. But my West Ham shirts from when I was a kid, I've got them now and they're all upstairs. But some of the shorts, especially from when I was 6, 7 years old, they're smaller than my boxes. They're absolutely tiny. I'm like, I can't get one leg of them. It's ridiculous. But, it's so nice to be able to keep that stuff. And I remember getting that kit for whichever birthday it was, or Christmas, and just every year going through the West Ham catalogue, being like, I literally had not everything. I wasn't spoiled like that, but I think back, I had an alarm clock, had bedspread, curtains, loads of different kits, pencil case, pens. I don't think I had a bag. At one point I had, what's it called? Not wall. I know what wallpaper is, but the trim that goes round.
Yeah.
And that, a banner. That's not what it's called. You know what I mean?
No.
That went round.
It's like a dado rail, but it's like
one of them.
Yeah.
But just with the West Ham logo.
Yeah.
Brilliant for crest. Yeah.
It's funny, and even now, it's ridiculous. I didn't realize. I was talking to someone the other day. I I don't mean I'm never out of West Ham. Like I'm 38 years old or 39. Yeah, 39. 39 years old. I'm never out of a West Ham kit. I didn't think about it. Like, it's like just because you just throw them on, and because there's like it's the other day and you sort of walk down the road and you forget what you're wearing. And even my face mask is a West Ham face mask. It's like,
well, you're like this. I wore a West Ham face mask today because my mate Phil Gallagher. You should get him on. He plays Mr. Maker. It's Mr. Maker.
Oh, we've got to get Mr. Maker on there. It's a new playlist as we're talking about.
He loves West Ham. He's a big West Ham fan. He likes Gillingham as well. He's a big West Ham fan. And he bought me a West Ham face mask. He sent it in the post. So I wore it today. I went to studio. I mean, I feel a bit like
because you're like in Salford, isn't it? So,
do you know what I mean? When I was 14 and going into school, you'd have a mufti day and you'd always wear your West Ham shirt. It is a bit like that. And the amount of people go, come on, you Irons. And I'm like, what? And then I'm like, I am wearing the face mask.
Yeah, we've been social distancing for years because we don't shake hands or do anything. We say, come on, you Irons, nod. Do the
exactly. Nod,
that's it, and that's it. No one shakes hands or anything with West Ham, and that's it. That's what you need to know, isn't it? And that's what I love about West Ham fans because you always find one. I mean, even for
everywhere,
as I said,
everywhere
all over the place.
I remember the first time we went abroad properly. I was 9. It was 1996. We went to Florida, and you know what it's like at theme parks and stuff, and people are wearing the West. I probably wore a West Ham shirt like most days. But you'd see people be like, a West Ham fan, and you'd be like so excited. It wouldn't be like, look, there's Mickey Mouse. It'd be there's someone who supports West Ham. It was
exactly.
Great.
There's someone with Keith Rowland on the back of their shirt.
And everyone knows the pain as well. You just go, yep.
And I think that's it. And I think that at that sort of, as you said, that pain, having that sort of, 40 years of hurt type thing at the moment, that makes us very, very different breed of fans. And that's why I think, in the same way you said you walk down the road and say, come on, your wine, screw you. I don't see that with like a Tottenham fan walking down the road, another, an Arsenal fan.
I guess it depends. If I was walking around and I supported Plymouth Argyle or Exeter City, I've said Plymouth and Exeter because I grew up in Devon, then you might have that because you don't see many of those fans. But you see United fans. I know so many United fans and so many Arsenal fans. Where you're based at the moment. That is, Arsenal fans, I like Arsenal, right? And loads of my mates are Arsenal fans. But if I hear them complain one more time about winning the FA Cup, I would give my right arm for West Ham to win the FA Cup. That is just the dream. We're not going to win the league unless something ridiculous. We are not going to win the league. So we could win the FA Cup. Yeah. And I'm still not over 2006, to be honest. So when Arsenal fans are like, oh, yeah, under Wenger, their last few years, you won the FA Cup like 3 times in 4 years or whatever it was.
Yeah.
All right. I understand you want to be back in Champions League finals and
totally.
But,
it's like horses for courses, isn't it, though, as well, in that, they're moaning about, we should start moaning about finishing top 10. Because that's like, do you remember those days, those Allardyce and Kerbishley days where we finished top 10? We didn't have to worry about, we were safe by March. Oh my God, those hazy days.
Yeah, and if you support Swindon or Oldham, you'd be delighted if you were where we are. So
exactly.
I remember Swindon and Oldham both being in the Premier League. So, I mean, yeah. But we haven't got it too bad. It could be worse.
No, we haven't got it too bad. I mean, I don't think, I was under no apprehension we were going to have a problem this year. I think there's a lot worse teams than West Ham in the Premier League, and we're playing 2 of them in the next 3 days, next 3 games, I think. And
crossed on that.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. It's going to be mean. Yeah, exactly. Well, we know that. That's so true. We know it's true, Ben, isn't it? That's the thing. Yeah. And then I'll be accused of being a jinx. No, a ginks. Someone accused me of being a ginks once. Like, obviously,
we'll be fine.
They obviously weren't watching how to spell jinx, but yeah. But we'll be fine. I'm not worried at all. But I think hopefully that means, if we get these good run of games coming up to Christmas, come January when we start the FA Cup, we haven't got the worrying of, that's why we're never going to win the League Cup, because, it starts in September when the season starts as well. We're too worried about having to put points on the board, let alone put out 2 sides.
Well, that, and then when we get to the semi-final, we lose 9-0 to Man City.
True. Very true.
Yeah.
But by then we were still like in worry. We still worry about going down. I just love
if hopefully this year I don't know. I'm just hoping that Moyes takes it seriously this year and says, "Come on, let's have a proper crack at this." Because I think West Ham fans we're realistic. We've got hope, but we're realists. So I think in the past, we're disappointed when we go and play like a third string 11 and get knocked out. And that's our best chance of getting any kind of glory or silverware and having a proper cup run. And it means a lot to the fans. So that's why it was disappointing under previous managers who go, oh yeah, but we need to stay in the league. Yeah, we do, but let's see if we can do something special in the FA Cup as well.
Exactly. I mean, we had to go with the first few rounds of the Carabao Cup until we get drawn against a good team. And there's clearly some good kids coming through. So it's encouraging, but I agree. And I really think Moyes is putting together this, people talk about a project. Oh, I joined because of the project. There does seem the first time I can think of a project being developed here. You can see there's an idea, there's a nucleus, and I just hope he's given the time to do it, because the trouble is we've chopped and changed so often that we get up. I mean, even now Moyes has only got a year contract left, and so is it a surprise that he's not necessarily bringing in young, unproven talent? He wants guys who are already got experience to then, like the Craig Dawsons of this world, to just fit into a squad. We'll see.
For the first time in quite a while, I'm quite excited though about the players that we've brought in.
Me too.
Probably not, and I mean this in the nicest way to Dawson. I wasn't like, wow, but he'll do a job for us. So great. Yeah. But you look, Bowen has been great since he signed. Yeah. Souček is ridiculously good. We got him at a great price. I'm never sure if it's Kufal or Sufal, but
I don't know, because they say both, and it should be if it's Souček, it should be Kufal.
Yeah, but I say Kufal. So he's been brilliant for us. And then I'm excited about Ben Rama, a weird one, because why did we get rid of Dean Garner to then bring in Ben Rama? But you look at in the past, if we'd have bought 4 or 5 players, 2 or 3 of them, you think, well, they're going to leave in 12, 18 months because it's not going to work out. And with these guys, they've bedded it. Well, obviously, Ben Rama's only just signed, but Souček and Bowen at the end of last season, you could have said, oh, they were our best 2 players.
Yeah, easily.
Antonio obviously was amazing at the end of the last season, but it feels like there's a better vibe about the club, and the fans that feel a little bit more on side. And I'm hopeful rather than being despondent about what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, there seems a buzz, doesn't there? There seems a buzz amongst the team. You see, they're doing loads of training videos on YouTube. The club are releasing all them, and they seem to be having a laugh and a giggle. And I think Ben Rama is actually probably such a West Ham player because he is that maverick player, which sometimes we crave. We love a maverick, and I just think he's a bit different, and we'll see what happens. I'd throw him on Saturday because I think it's Fulham are his league. He's played against them. He scored loads of times last season against them.
Exactly. And you just think if he plays or even comes on for the last half an hour and gets a goal or got a brace or something. I mean, let's be extra hopeful. I mean, that would be such a good start. Like you say, he's the kind of player that West Ham fans love. So I'm excited about watching him play properly.
Me too. And we'll see what happens. But it's exciting. I'm excited because I just think there's something building. You can see it, and also the backroom staff. They all seem to be on the same page. They shout, and I mean, when you're watching the games, Ben, do you watch them with the crowd noise on or the crowd noise off at the moment?
Depends where I am, to be honest. If I go to my mum and dad's, because I'm allowed to see them because of the bubble stuff, because I live on my own. I prefer it with the noise on, but I think my dad sometimes prefers it off.
Yeah.
So I've done both. It depends what channel it is, I think, because if you've got crowd noise but it's low enough, it's cool. But sometimes it's like really overbearing, and they do that on the IPL as well. I watched the cricket the other week, and then the crowd noise was way too loud, and then it's kind of jarring. But if it's subtle, I quite like it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But one thing I didn't realise, because I assumed it was a guy on a soundboard. I assumed it was a poor little sap in a truck, but it's not. It's all done through AI. It's all done through AI. Yeah, we had a guy on from Sky, who worked for Sky. I know you found out when we were just talking, and some guys invented it based on Opta and this type of thing, and they obviously plumb in all the FIFA in the same way. If you're playing FIFA on the PlayStation or Xbox, it's the same thing, same principle apparently. But
Wow, okay. That's really interesting.
Which even makes it even more worrying if you was a Norwich fan. 'Cause last year when they got booed off the pitch and we were 3-0 up at half-time against them, it's like the robots have turned against them. AI's turned against Farke.
Yeah.
He didn't have a chance, bless
I mean,
him.
that must be so disappointing. You're getting booed off and there are no fans there.
Yeah, exactly. I just thought, oh God, poor guy. But yeah, no, I'm a crowd noise when obviously I'm at the games during obviously at the home games. So and it's so quiet that I put crowd noise on. Just what like a watch along or something like one of the YouTube channels, just to have some sort of something, because otherwise it's so quiet you can hear the journalists typing. It's a bit ridiculous. Yeah. But away from home when the game's on telly, I like it off because I just like hearing people swear, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, there is that. I find it really interesting as well in terms of what language the players are speaking and what they're shouting at each other. And yeah, I love behind the scenes videos and clips and stuff. I saw something the other day of Thierry Henry absolutely hammering his players, hammering them. Yeah. And I was like, can you imagine playing under Thierry Henry, knowing he's that good and him giving you grief and thinking he could probably do a better job out here than me, even though he retired however many years ago. They said that, didn't they, when we had was it when we had Zola as manager and they said he was still the best player at training?
Yeah, and that's the trouble, isn't it? You get players like, I think that's probably Glenn Hoddle as well. He was usually the best player when he was the England manager and stuff like that. And I like listening to, because obviously we've got quite a fiery bench. And so we've got, a few Scots, we've got a Scouser, we've got Piercy, you've got the Irvine and Moisey. There's a lot of noise coming from them, and it can be I think it's quite intimidating.
I like that. I mean, I don't want a manager who just sits there and doesn't do anything.
No.
It doesn't work for West Ham anyway. We want someone who cares about the club and really understands what the club is about. I think that's one of the reasons why, Allardyce never really endeared himself to the Hammers fans. If you were going to take we were saying to someone who doesn't know anything about West Ham, right? You're doing your first press conference as manager. What are you going to say? Go in there, talk about the tradition, talk about the way West Ham likes to play football, talk about the fans, talk about the passion, the stadium when we were at Upton Park, all of that stuff. Do not go in and go, the West Ham way, what's that? They haven't played like that for years. Immediately, like, brilliant, well done.
You got your back up, yeah, I know.
Weird.
I like a tracksuit manager. Do you know what I mean? I like a tracksuit manager. That's why I like Moisey, because I like a tracksuit manager. There's something to be said. I think, that's why I never really took to Pellegrini. I never really took to him. Yeah, he was a fantastic manager. Like his track record, but he was in a suit, and then when he wore a tracksuit, it looked like he was like doing the gardening. It didn't look right. It didn't look right. You either go,
it depends, though, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? On the person.
Yeah, it does.
So if you take Frank Lampard can do both, but he looks absolutely banging in a suit. Like, he looks good in a suit, smart.
Yeah.
Whereas when he's in a tracksuit, I'm a bit like, doesn't look like he's made an effort.
Yeah. Well, you can tell it was like the games. You could tell the games that Pellegrini wasn't bothered about, because he'd be tracksuited up. So it was like Burnley.
Well, at least Moyes is always the same. Always the same. Arms folded most of the time, with a massive watch now as well.
It's huge, isn't it? But I think he's
got
quite a small wrist.
This one.
Yeah,
black and gold.
Exactly, and it's like because his arms are quite small as well, so it looks even bigger, doesn't it? But no, I think it's good. I like it. I like a man my manager's in a tracksuit. But then if someone like Guardiola, see, he's got it. He's got the difference, because he can go with the roll neck. He can go with like a t-shirt, like under. Terribly exciting stuff to talk about West Ham. But it's true. I think it makes a big difference.
Yeah, and also you've got to be able to match as well. Like Kirby would always wear a claret tie, wouldn't he?
Yeah, claret tie. See, I'm thinking. I mean, I think Pardew got it right, the balance right, because he was. Sometimes he went with glasses as well. He'd be on the touchline with glass. And I just think mix it up. You play your opposition and you sort of match your. If you're against Guardiola, you got to look a bit smarter. If you're against, Chris Wilder, tracksuits.
The thing with Pardew that I can't get past, though, as soon as you mention him dressed up, I just think about that ridiculous dance he did when he was at Crystal Palace.
but that what did Bobby keep? They call him Chocolate, didn't they? They used to call him Chocolate because he could literally eat himself. That's how much he loved it. That's what they used to call him, Chocolate. And no, he's all right, Alan. No, he's a good man. I actually used to remember when we was at the old ground, me and the announcer at the time, Jeremy, we would often have to meet Mr. Pardew before the game in his office because Alan was so not controlling, that's the wrong word, but he wanted to know everything that's going on. So he wanted to know what music we were going to play, like in the stadium before, as the fans are coming in. And I was like, yeah, literally to that level. And we sort of said, whatever, Guns N' Roses or whatever. The Foo Fighters weren't there at the time. That's what I always play at the moment. But no,
Foo Fighters are my favourite band. In fact, I've got a picture of Dave Grohl just up there.
Well, because I saw pictures of Dave Grohl with like a West Ham badge with him. Like I think there was a connection there somehow. But no. Famously, everyone takes a mickey at me because I play Foo Fighters when we lose, because it's like generic rock, and it's like the first one on my playlist. My West Ham are losing players, but honestly, Pardew would literally want to go. What we playing, and he'd say, "Do you know what we need a bit today, Russ? Bit of Sinatra." Okay, Alan. Okay, right. Okay.
Did you ever play Frank Sinatra?
No, but we never played it. But then one day he went to see the Rat Pack live at the Savoy. And he went backstage and he got the Dean Martin impersonator to turn up to the ground to sing Bubbles to the teams they came out. Really? And he didn't know the words.
Brilliant. What did he do then? Did he make it up?
It's sort of like, he sort of scattered, like proper jazz. Like, Bubble, like oh, dude. He had loads of ideas, Alan. He had the other one was he went to, speaking of Florida, he went to SeaWorld, and it was at the Shamu show or something like that. And the guy doing the presenting of the display of the whales would ask questions, and the camera would zoom in on a family, and they'd give the answers by saying like 1, 2, or 3. And he said, "I think we should do that at West Ham." I was like, "No, but why not? Well, can you imagine?" Yeah, like at half time, zooming in. Zoom, okay, what out of these 3 players, which one is
coming up with the kiss cam next?
Yeah, exactly. But could you imagine the options are 1, 2, and 3? And could you imagine the West Ham fans how they would say 1, 2, or 3 without showing it on camera?
It's not going to be particularly user friendly.
No,
family viewing,
family friendly content. No, I don't think so. So bless him, he did have his good ideas. Anyway, we digress. 22 minutes in, that's probably a record for me, to be honest.
I've enjoyed it.
Before I ask the first question, is, I know we know why you're a West Ham fan, because you said your dad's influence, but why is your dad a West Ham fan, and also why are you? Because you might not have chosen to be a West Ham fan, for example.
My dad was born in 58, so it's classic 66. Bobby Moore, he was his hero. His older brother. They lived in Coventry. My dad was born in London, but then they moved to Coventry, and he goes to Highfield Road and stuff.
Yeah.
So his brother, my uncle, is still a season ticket holder at Coventry. His other brother supports Sheffield Wednesday, but they used to go to Coventry all the time. And my dad loved Bobby Moore. Was like, I'm a West Ham fan, and that was that. And then for me, genuinely, I don't remember a time in my life when I didn't support West Ham. Like all of my memories, pretty much. And that obviously, I must have memories before I knew about West Ham.
Yeah.
But when I look back at being a kid, I'm like, well, it's always been there. I don't remember it ever being a consideration. It was like that was just it.
Yeah.
So I can kind of remember from 93, 94, definitely 94, 95. I remember the World Cup in 94, that obviously England weren't in, so I supported Brazil, which is the only glory hunting I think I've ever done. And it was just, there was never ever any doubt or any chance of me changing. When you're younger, you think, oh God, I wish I supported a better team at times.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
No,
not a chance. So it's always been West Ham.
It's character building, isn't it? It is character building.
It's something like that.
Fan. Yeah,
it's something like that. Yeah.
But it's sort of, it's a good lesson in life. That's what I've always told my daughter, because she's not really into football. I think she's into it because Daddy likes it. But she's like, oh, they know if they've lost, because I'll come in and I'll sit down and unseries link match of the day. Doesn't matter what they're watching, could be Strictly, whatever.
Off.
Yeah, and they go, okay, so they lost today then. Yeah. And then Flo would say, Daddy, why do you support West Ham? They never win. And I was like, yeah, they don't. But when they do,
it's great.
It's great.
That's the thing. I kind of think if I ever have kids one day, there's a huge part of me that would love them to support West Ham, but there's another part of me that thinks, just do yourself a favour and support someone else. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm split there, 50-50, I think.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good lesson in life, because I said to my daughter, it just proves you can't get everything in life, but when you do get something, you need to enjoy it. That sounds like the end of one of your programs, Ben. That does. It's like
that does, yeah. You can do the next link. Next
link, yeah, exactly, yeah. Could you imagine? God, Mr. Tumble, I got nothing on him. So yeah, no, it's and I just think, yeah, it's. I mean, again, my daughter, she'll know nothing more than West Ham, and she was 3 days old, and I had a picture of her in the playoff trophy.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so she was like scarred from an early age.
Yeah.
But she said, I was probably about 2 years before you, I reckon. Yeah, I reckon I started really supporting them about 92. I was a glory hunter because they were in the what was the League One? Was it Championship or was it Division One? I can't remember. But they'd just been promoted.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just going. So 92. So that season, when we went up with Clive Allen scoring the second against Cambridge United. So I was a glory hunter. I turned up just as we were beating teams like Oxford United 5-3 and stuff like that. But no, yeah, it was just, and as you said, that's it. And once you're in, it. Really, you can't really get out.
No,
it's like non-refundable.
Yeah, I think I've come to it's better for me now than it used to be. It used to be in an unhealthy way where I'd get so if I was going to a game, I'd get so nervous.
Really?
And my heart rate would be ridiculous, and I enjoyed it, but it was too much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then for years, literally, if you said, or one of my mates was like, do you want to do X, Y, or Z? I'd be like, yeah, but West Ham playing, so can we do it before or can we do it after? Or whereas now, if
I think life takes over,
or I'm working or something, then I'm like, I want us to win. I'm going to be checking the score, but it doesn't. I'm not going to let it dictate my mood for the whole day if we lose.
Yeah.
Whereas it used to just. It still does. It depends on the game and what's happening.
It still does.
I'm not over it 14 years later. But if we lose against Fulham, I'll be annoyed. But you just have to go. Well, we play with cup games, 45, 50 games a season. So the club will still be there next season, whether we're in the Premier League or the Championship, and the fans will still be there, and the songs will still be there, and the club is bigger than me as an individual fan or Declan Rice as a player or whatever. In 15 years' time, the players now won't be there, but the club still will. Do you know what I mean? So it's like a big,
no, it's very, that's a very good way of thinking of it.
I'm trying to be more philosophical and grown up.
Yeah, no, I like,
just let it dictate everything.
It's true. It is true. And it's like, I think some people still, even in their more experienced age, are still in that sort of like, that's it, it's their life. And for a lot of people it is, but I know what you mean. It's like,
and there's nothing wrong with that at all. I was just like, for me, I can't keep feeling like this because I'm not enjoying stuff.
No.
I didn't enjoy the FA Cup final. I didn't enjoy it. We were 2-0 up and I was shaking. My mate, I watched it with my mate at Cardiff Uni because he was there and I'd taken a year out, but I'd gone up to visit him for the weekend. We were 2-0 up. I was shaking, and he likes rugby more than football. He was like, what the wrong with you? You're winning 2-0. I was like, yeah, but it's West Ham. And he was like, what? Do you want another beer? I was like, yes, but I was so nervous. So it was awful. And then,
it just
I'm trying to live in the moment more and enjoy it more for what it is. And my expectations are lower. I didn't expect us to get anything out of the Liverpool game. So when we were 1-0 up, I was loving it. But when we lost, I was like, well, that's kind of what I expected. But it was a great
we
did well. We could have won it. We definitely could have got a draw.
I'm the same. I think I'm totally the same. I'm a realist, and it's like everyone's like, oh, obviously the fallout from Saturday, but you're right. You played the league champions. It's a free hit. Yeah, we could have won, but we didn't. Next game, it's all about the next game, and I know what you mean.
Beautiful things like Spurs.
Yeah, but we know they're going to come. That's the thing, and it's like they come 3 or 4 times a season. We turn up. And the frustration is why we don't turn up every game, but we do. But that's it. You don't know what game they're going to turn up at, so you have to watch every game, or whatever. But it comes to a point where for me, I'm the same as you. I'm a realist, and it's like I always look at things half full now. I just think there's, particularly now in these weird times we're in now, you have to enjoy every moment, and that's what West Ham fans have never been able to do. We'll turn over, like, I don't know, we turn over Leicester and we turned over Wolves, and then the first thing people will go is, oh, but we're still an injury away from being a rubbish team. Well, we're not at the moment, you know what I mean? It's like, we're not. Just enjoy it.
Just enjoy it. Yeah, exactly. Because we didn't expect to win either of those games. No. It's certainly not 4-0 and 3-0. So,
no, exactly.
I said to my dad when we were 3-0 down against Spurs and we got that free kick, I was like, we're going to win 4-3. And he went, yeah, right. And I said, no, you're right. We're going to draw 3-3. And he was like, nonsense. Then we scored from that free kick.
Yeah.
I didn't actually believe we were going to draw 3-3. But it was beautiful when it happened. And that Lanzini goal is that's one of my favourite memories from the last few seasons.
It is. It was just brilliant.
What's a hit? A perfect goal, last minute, equaliser, brilliant comeback. And I got to watch it, it's been a weird year. I got to watch it next to my dad and we both jumped off the sofa and went mad. It was great.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? But I remember my mother-in-law, because we sort of moved her back in for a lockdown, and she'd had a few weeks off, but we brought her back in, and she came sort of running in thinking I'd turned my ankle or something, because I was like, no, sorry, it's just a 94th minute equaliser from Manuel Lanzini against our
I said lots of swear words.
Yes.
It was great. I'm glad I wasn't live on CBeebies at the time.
No, so I said you get them all out your system, and you come back in on Monday morning, and it's like, yeah, that's good. Speaking of that, do you sort of have to mute? Obviously not during when you're filming, obviously, but afterwards, do you switch on and switch off? In terms of what you say and things like that.
Not really. No. You'll have probably seen, and if anyone's listening or watching and they've got kids, they'll probably. I'm pretty much trying to be really simple, like the same. I don't. It's my on-screen and off-screen persona aren't hugely different.
Sure. Yeah.
Like right now, I'm not playing hide and seek with the teddy bears. But ultimately, I'm the same guy. So
yeah.
Obviously, you're not. I don't swear a lot anyway, but but that's just going to work, right? You're not going to be in the office.
It's true. It's true.
It's just the same. Obviously, you've got to be a little bit careful about whatever it might be because you've got a microphone and a camera on you. So I'm not.
It makes sense. But, just interested. Just interesting.
I think for me, it's important to be kind of authentic and genuine to who I am and what I'm about, not only because it works better for me as a presenter and to have that authentic voice, but also it means that when I'm doing CBeebies or shows on CBBC or my stuff for Match of the Day or whatever it is, that people look at it and go, oh, that's the same bloke. Whereas if when I do something for Match of the Day, I'm more like this, and then I'm on CBeebies and I'm like, well, is it which? Do you know what I mean?
Totally. So you're saying, and that's the best way to be, isn't it? It's not, you're not putting a different mask on for a different show, and it's
it's horses, like you were saying earlier. With I can't remember what we were talking about, but it's horses for courses. If it works for you to kind of be more of a character or have a different persona, that's ace. But I don't think that would work for me as a presenter. I don't. And also, then if I needed to deliver a link like the one that went out the other week, I don't think then it would be as powerful because it's not coming from here.
Yeah. It's about be authentic. You're totally right. Yeah. I think that's why people like. I think that's why at the moment a lot of people are liking. Obviously, there's loads of content coming out on YouTube and stuff because it's just people talking, and I think that's why people are quite interested. That's why people like this show, because it's just two people talking, whether it's an ex-player or whether it's a fan or whatever. It doesn't matter, and it's just like two people talking in a pub. That's the whole idea, and I think it's the same as if I'm talking to Ray Winston. Well, Ray Winston.
Yeah.
I know. I listened back to me, and I went really Cockney, and I just think, and it's like even more so, and it's like I'm not even.
No,
I'm not Cockney, but
you're
I
allowed. That's all good. It's all
yeah.
good. Yeah, that's the thing. I kind of, I've said this in interviews and stuff recently.
Yeah.
I don't care whether I'm talking to you or, the cleaners at work or someone who's super famous. People are just people. Like,
Yeah, it's true.
Treat people properly and with respect, and you like them or you don't. I'm not interested in their status or what their job is. Like, whatever. So.
It's very true. It's very true. I'm exactly the same. I don't care if I'm talking to. And to be honest, in all honesty, it's. I find it more nerve wracking when I'm interviewing ex-players than when I'm talking to guys like yourselves or any normal fan. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like you can just relax a bit more. You're not worried that you're got their stats wrong or whatever you mean. Here I make mistakes. I can't remember any. I'm rubbish at.
Yeah, but I mean, most players. You'd like to think that most people would be cool about it anyway. Do you know what I mean? If you've got stats slightly wrong, unless you're really pedantic, you're just going to let that go or like make a joke out of it. So
you did, yeah.
I know what you mean.
I got it very wrong, and I had to redo my intro to. We interviewed David Cross, who obviously 1980 FA Cup winner. And on Wikipedia, it only has their league goals. And that's when I found out that it only has their league goals. So I said, "Oh, you scored 70. Oh, I scored 99 goals, Russ. Okay, we'll start that one again. Hello, everyone." It's like from then on, I have to make sure. But everyone's really sore. The only one actually, Tony Cottee, he pulled me up because I said he had 7 England caps and he had 8, or I said he had 8 and he had 7. I was like, oh, come on, TC, come on, mate.
I mean, I met Tony Cottee once, and he was well nice to me. So
he's safe.
Yeah, he was sound. So I just started working for the International Cricket Council.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did before TV. I was working in sport development, and it was my first week. And there was a test match going on at Lord's. So the office was at Lord's, and it was ridiculous. I was like, here I am. Hadn't had a job for quite a while because I was struggling after uni to do. It was, applying for jobs is not fun. Then I get this job, which is
perfect.
Not a dream job, but kind of like, sorry, I get to work at Lord's. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, first week, it's May, the sun's shining. There was a test match that week between England and I think it was the West Indies. It was 2012. Someone might correct me if that's wrong. Someone will tweet you probably and go, but they don't play the West Indies. Anyway, West Indies. And it was the same week as the playoff final.
Yeah.
Against Blackpool.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Was the playoff final the Saturday or the Sunday?
It was Saturday because that was my daughter's due date.
Okay, so that would have been the third day of the test match, I think.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, so I saw Tony, I think, on the Friday, And I'd got off the tube at St John's Wood, and I was at the traffic lights to walk down to go to Lord's.
Yep.
And there were loads of people around because it was test match day.
Yeah.
And we stood there, and I look across, and like, it's Tony Cottee. I was like, I can't not say anything to him. So I just went, mate, we're going to win tomorrow or, Saturday or whatever. And he went, oh, yeah, I think so. We should do it. And he was lovely. And he goes, are you going? And I said, no, I can't. And he was like, what? Why? I said, well, I've just started a new job. He's like, what are you doing? So I said, no, I was at the ICC. So I'm working on Saturday. We've got this big event. And he was like, mate, you need to get your priorities sorted out. I was like, it's my first week. Anyway, it was really nice. And then weirdly, so I was so excited. I think I either rang my dad or texted. I've just had a chat with Tony Cottee. And then I walked past Alan Kirbishley. Like, I could literally a minute later, and I just smiled at him like an absolute lemon. And I think he must have had it loads. So he was like, he definitely knows who I am, but I didn't say anything to him.
Yeah.
I've seen Alan Kirbishley now. I'm working at Lord's. It's a test match. I've seen Alan Kirbishley and Tony Cottee. It's my first week. This is nuts. So yeah, it was quite cool.
That's a bit like how I am now, because it's like when I started, this has been going for 5 months, I think now. And it started off, interview. And then like I was looking, because it's like I put my phone into my car, and obviously you've got that car play, and you can click your text messages, and it had all my recent text messages, and I was like, I should screenshot this because it had like Stuart Slater, Jack Mate, Alan Pardew was there, and I was like, it's mental.
Yeah, no,
so I love it.
Yeah, it's one of those where you got to pinch yourself a little bit and go, I can't
it's a bit weird. But, Anyway, let's talk about the 11 because we're 40 minutes in.
I know it's gone quick.
Wrap yourself in, yes. So, so the Hammers 11. Everyone read on, and we've interviewed, and they've given their 11. The only rule is you have to be alive to have seen them play. That's the only rule, Ben. You can talk about whoever you want in whatever context, which is really, really cool. So we'll start off in goal because in goal is usually the easiest for some people. So, who is in goal for the Ben 11?
Do you want my formation or not?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, what is your formation? I'll make a note.
So I sent this to my dad yesterday. I was like, what do you make out of this? And he goes, you're not going to win many games. And I was like, well, no. I'm kind of going for like a Brazil vibe where we're going to score more goals than the opposition.
Brilliant.
It's going to be terrible. I've gone for it in terms of players that I'd want to see on the pitch at the same time. And I think I'm hoping that the West Ham fans will like this team.
Yeah.
So it's a 3-4-3 with a diamond in midfield. But my dad said it's kind of like a 3-1-2-1-2-1. I'm saying it's a 3-4-3 with a diamond.
We'll go 3-4-3.
Yeah.
No, it's lucky because I used to do like the teams on like a PowerPoint, and like lucky that, geez, like 3-1-2-1-2-1.
That is like, what it is. I mean, I've got it here. I won't show you because then it will reveal.
That's brilliant. I love it, man. I remember like when we interviewed older players and older fans, more experienced fans, because obviously in the 60s, I mean, your dad would have left halves and left forwards. I had no idea any. I felt so stupid. But anyway, right, we'll go in goal because that's the easy one. In the position time, who is in goal for Ben 11? That's the question.
Raymond van der Haan. No, I'm joking.
I'd say I'd have to Google that. I'd have to type it.
Remember, he signed for us.
He did.
I think the year we went down and he never played. We signed him from Man United and he never played for us.
We had a few for Man United. Roy Carroll as well for Man United.
Yeah. Okay, my goalkeeper. Can I tell you about the ones that I?
Yes, honourable mentions. Yeah.
I really like Rob Green. I
Yeah.
thought Rob Green was great, and he seems like a top bloke, and he's interesting. So yeah, he was a consideration. Shaka Hislop.
Yeah.
I really like Big Shaq. And then Lucas Fabianski. And I'm not name dropping, but I've got to do the last two community features at West Ham for Match of the Day. And the last one I did this time last year, it was the player that they offered up. It was the stuff that the club do around the Players Project.
Players Project, yeah.
And everyone goes to the stadium on the same day. Anyway, we had Lucas Fabianski, and he was brilliant. He was really lovely with all the participants, and we went on this bus trip from the foundation to the stadium, and we filmed all of it. And then I had an interview with him, and he was such a nice bloke. And you know, it showed last year when he was injured how much we struggled without him. So Fabianski, it was close, but I've got to go for Ludo. I'm putting McCloskey in goal.
Oh, Ludo McCloskey.
So. Yeah, just he's the first goalkeeper I can remember.
Yeah, would have been, yeah.
And I love the song. I love going to an away game and the song comes, "Oi, big boy, what's your name?" So I love it so much. And the only time I've ever had a West Ham goalkeeper's jersey was when it was the bright yellow one with Dagenham Motors and the badge right in the middle. Yeah. And that's a Ludo top, so it had to be him in goal.
Yeah. And he was like, he epitomizes West Ham, Ludo does, because like he would have an absolute worldie about 2 or 3 times a season, usually against Man United. And then bless him, he'd have a flap. Yeah. You know, obviously with lockdown, you know, particularly when we had no football, I watched a lot of old football. Rob Banks is like putting all the series, all the West Ham season reviews on YouTube. They get taken down, but and yeah. My granddad called him Loopy Ludo, bless him, and it's like I see why now. But he was fantastic, and he was unusual. He was he was from the Czech Republic. Clearly, no one knew where the Czech Republic was, hence the song. But as Tony Gale said to me, you know, you couldn't have, you know, my name is Ludic McCloskey. I come from near Prague. Wouldn't work. But yes, but Super Ludo's in goal, and a lovely bloke. You know, it's funny, you know, he's a Czech or Czech Republic, you know, Czechoslovakia, and we've got quite a good at the moment. Quite a good Czech, and apparently they're scouting the Czech leagues now for a striker for, you know. So
I mean, if they're as good as the lads who've just come in, I'll take it.
Well, I think Thomas Souček should be our new head of recruitment. He's the one who suggested Kufal.
Yeah, he's been amazing for us. So
yeah. Right, okay, we'll put Ludo in. Right,
so Ludo's in, and that's a good mention as well because he stopped United winning the league. So happy days.
It always helps.
Yeah.
And I think also, I think Man United were like looking at Ludo, like when Schmeichel had left as a replacement. He never went, but maybe because the only scout they did was when they played him and he was out of this world. So yeah, it's probably his assumption was if you bought him, he couldn't make them lose the league again. So right, okay. So we got the back three. Who's the first one of the back three then, Ben?
I'm going for Julian Dix.
Julian Dix, the Terminator.
He's got to be in there. Similar, really, in terms of when I think about, my earliest memories of supporting West Ham, Julian Dix looking absolutely hard as nails, smashing free kicks and penalties in with his left peg, shirt untucked, undone. So do you remember when we had the buttons up here and he'd have it like really undone, but with a really flappy collar?
Or when he used to rip his shirt. Do you remember when they used to have the hooped collar and he used to rip it with the collar? And so many kids got smacked from their parents because they were trying to.
Yeah, he just bought the new shirt, just ripped it. So he has to be in there because he's a fan's favourite.
Yeah.
He's never going to shirk a tackle. He's going to get stuck in. He'll show all the West Ham fans want. I was watching the Liverpool game and I've got time for Haller, right? I think Haller could be amazing for us.
Yeah.
But I was watching him and just being like, mate, just please jump for a header. And I think he could be really, really good for us. But if we've had some bang average players, but if they work their socks off and give it everything, the fans like him. And Julian Dix, not only was he good, he worked his socks off and he cared. And that's what you want. And I think if I was a football player, what would I want to do? I'd want the fans to love me. That's what I'd want. I'd want to have a relationship with the fans. I'd give everything. You'd want to get it back. If you didn't play well, yeah, you're going to get stick. But you go, well, I haven't played as well as I could, but I've tried.
Yeah. And that's what we ask, isn't it?
Try your hardest every game. And yeah, Julian Dix, he's in there for character as much as his footballing.
Yeah. And for the ability to galvanise a club, a crowd, a team from left back. It's like left of the three here, but it's not the most glamorous position, but he could just like one of his tackles or one of it, it's like, and as you said, he was a good player and he was skillful. I remember someone mentioned it and I had to find it on YouTube when he was playing Man United. It's always Man United, but when he was playing Man United, he used to do this thing where the ball was coming to the edge of the byline, and he would dink it over the player running towards him. And it was Cantona, and Cantona just stood there and just nodded afterwards. And so that's awesome. If Cantona could do that and appreciate it, then anyone else can. Right? Okay, Mr.
Now it would be a GIF within like 20 minutes.
And it'd be a zoom in, wouldn't it? Zoom in into his face, and it'd be like anytime you do something good, It's like, and that's the thing. Everything just gets meme now, doesn't it? And gift. So it's like, that would be a class. It's like that one of the Chuck Norris one where he sort of just his thumb up. That's what that should be doing. But yeah, God bless Julian. And he became a dad again during lockdown. So
did he?
Because
hopefully he's not having to watch me on.
Well, it's probably because obviously that's what you need when you're sort of trying to spearhead survival into the Premier League is sleepless nights, don't you? With a little baby, bless him. But Julian's in. Right, who is the next in that back three then, Ben?
So I'm going to save the one who's going to play in the middle for the last player because I think he's class. So on the other side, I'm going to have Stevie Potts.
Oh, Stevie Potts.
So and again, when I think back to like my youngest memories, even the 94, 95 Merlin, I think it was Merlin, other sticker albums are available. Yes. Collecting all the stick. Tim Breaker I remember Tim Breaker playing right back and being like, I like Tim Breaker. But Steve Potts, he played for us so many times. He was quality. And when I think I saw him 2 years ago when I did the West Ham community feature.
Yeah, probably.
But it was one of them where you think, I don't want to embarrass myself. And so last year I saw him and was like, I'm just going to go for it. So I went over and was like, I don't really remember what I said, but I was like, excuse me. I think he thought, what's going on here? And I was like, listen, I was a massive West Ham fan. Like when I was growing up, absolutely loved you. I thought you would call it whatever. So said something. He was surprised, I think. I think he thought, really? Because he looks pretty different now.
He does.
And also, I look like a child. So he was probably thinking, how does he remember me? But he was really gracious with it and said, thanks a lot. And I was like, nice one. Thanks. But But yeah, he was brilliant. So
he is, and
he's a
he's
player.
very, very humble. Like which I'm trying to get him on the channel, but he's not one of these people who does a lot in front of camera at all. In fact, on Thursday, this will probably go out on. Actually, it's probably going to go out Thursday. Anyway, we've got we're doing like these sort of player profiles, like a bit more in depth with like highlights and stuff. And Steve Potts is our first one we're doing, and we've got one of the only interviews he's probably done to camera. And but yeah, he's a very, very quiet man. But as you said, he's part of the under-23 setup and stuff like that. And obviously, Mark's just taken over him in terms of appearances now. I think he's gone above him now. But no, he's fantastic servant to the club. And foot taller, would have played for England. So all the United States, of course.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, he was great. So he's
great. And we're also in that video, we're showing the goal because he scored like one goal against Hull City. We've got that on video, so it's gonna be fun. Right, okay, Potsy's in, and then who's the middle one? Who's the class?
Everyone's probably going to be able to guess this one. I mean, if it was all time, obviously Bobby Moore would be in the back.
Yeah, we know that.
But it's while I've been alive. So
that's the idea, yeah.
I thought about having James Collins in the team because I really like Ginger Pele's quality. I lived in Cardiff. I was there for uni and then lived there for a bit after. And, him and Danny Gabidon were really good for us. But I'm going for Rio Ferdinand because, Rolls-Royce defender, absolutely class, amazing career. Wish he'd have stayed with us for a bit longer. Gutted he went to Leeds. Gutted he went to United as well. But he was brilliant for us. And he was just like a ridiculous footballer, especially for a centre-back.
Yeah, he was. And he was
he was amazing. So he's
could have done. And I just think with Rio, he's had this illustrious career afterwards, obviously Leeds, United, England, but I still see him as a West Ham player. It's really weird. Like some people have left, like Frank and people like that had left, and I don't. But I just think, maybe because of Anton, because Anton's still a really big fan, and you assume there's some sort of family, fanness there. But Rio was just class. He was just, even at a young age, he was absolutely class, wasn't he?
And you just kind of think as well when he talks, like Joe Cole obviously still loves West Ham.
Yeah.
Frank Lampard, he never talks about West Ham. Obviously, he just talks about Chelsea. Rio still, like, we do well, and he's like, come on your irons, and put stuff on Twitter that he's still got a soft spot for West Ham and cares about the club and stuff. So I think the fans appreciate that as well. He was amazing. I'm glad that he went on and had such a successful career and won the Champions League and whatever. Wish he'd have been able to do it for us, but brilliant player. Yeah,
definitely. Right, okay, Rio's in. That's a good back three. Right, okay, right. With this four, we'll just do 1, 2, and you can pick. You can do other than the diamond, or whatever. You do it as you want to do it, Ben, on your bit of paper.
Okay. We're going through the defensive part of the diamond first.
Yep.
And this was really tough. Picking my midfield was hard. So, I thought about Scotty Parker. I loved Scotty Parker. He was one of the only good things out of that couple of years. Obviously thought about Nobes. Really like Mark Noble. I love Jack Collison. But my defense. This is the only player who plays for us at the moment. So only current player. I'm putting Declan Rice in as my defensive midfielder. Yeah. He's already played. How many times has he played for? 100?
Over 100. Over 100
already. He's brilliant. Similar to Rio, he could play centre back, central midfield. I genuinely think he could play for a top 4 club already. I'd love if he stays for the next 5 years. Can't really see it, but he clearly cares about the club. He's got character. He's interesting in interviews. He can score a goal occasionally. He puts tackles in. He's brilliant for us.
And I think since you talk about Souček, since he's come into the team, his game has gone up a level because, no disrespect to Mr. Noble at all, fine servant in the club, but he was carrying Mark quite a bit. Like you could tell that a little bit, like in terms of the workload, he seemed to be doing Mark's a little bit as well. Because Mark in terms of his mission is getting on a bit, but him and Souček just work as a partnership. And I honestly think in his position, I can't think of anyone in the game at the moment who can match him. Do you know what I mean? Just because he, as a player, like that's a defensive midfield player. I mean, you got to look Fernandinho at Man City. Yes,
Kante still can do
Kante, but even Kante at the moment isn't being played in the right position, and so it's like, when Kante was in his pomp, even at Leicester or when he'd just gone to Chelsea, that's the level at Deck. I think at the moment, I just think he's brilliant, and he just got the extra dimension. Kante didn't bomb forward, did he? He didn't get the goals. Fernandinho does, but he's aging now, and so it wasn't Chelsea I was more worried about him leaving. It was Man City, because I just think they haven't replaced. Even Rodri isn't the guy to replace Fernandinho.
I love the fact he makes so many tackles when they don't look like tackles.
Yes.
So he'll come in from the side and he'll run with someone, and then somehow he'll get like the outside of his right or left boot in.
Yeah.
Tackle the player and then come away with the ball, and then he's off again.
Yeah,
so, I think he could. He's already great, but I think he could be ridiculously good.
And also, when Mark was out, there was no question that Deck was going to be captain. The guy's 21.
Natural, right?
Yeah, it's just so natural that, it's not going to be Ogbonna or Balbuena. Balbuena was captain of Corinthians, and it's Snoddy or anyone. It was going to be Declan Rice, and no one's even questioned it. And for somebody who's 21 to do that and has played so many games, I haven't done the maths, and I do apologise. I'm sure Kent Irons or Kent Hammers will mention it. I think he's probably must be one of the youngest winners of the Hammer of the Year. He's got to be one of the youngest. I'm sure someone will tell me if it's not, but I might have to have a look at that later on. But
we'll have to look. But
and from an interview perspective, as you said, because he's young, he hasn't been media trained yet, and so it's enthusiastic and it's exciting. It's interesting to listen to him. It's not. He hasn't had the sort of the media training and the sort of party line put into. Oh well, the boy played well, and he's like
he'll just do a face like after when we did Spurs, and he just does that like blinky face, and also he's got a much better haircut than he had when he started as well. So
definitely. Right. Okay, Deck's in. Who's the next one of the four then, Ben?
So he's gonna play defensive midfield, if you like. Then on the right hand side, we're gonna have Tevez Sinclair.
Oh,
I love Tevez Sinclair.
My man.
Worked really hard. Scored some great goals, not just for us either. Some of his goals, ridiculous. I saw him play for. He went to Cardiff, didn't he? After
City.
He went to Man City after us, and then went to Cardiff later. But I was so proud. This sounds stupid. I was 15, and I was proud of him. But when he played in the 2002 World Cup, he played against Argentina, right?
Yeah.
And it was amazing just to have a West Ham player playing in the World Cup, for England. I thought he was absolutely quality, and he scored some brilliant goals, and he looked well cool in the shirt as well. It was like too baggy for him, especially down the sides here.
Yeah. And the sleeve as well. He had really baggy, like bingo wing sleeve.
But his smile, I know it sounds weird, but his smile, do you know what I mean? He'd score a goal, and he just looks, and I think the fans loved him. Yeah. And like I say, this isn't a particularly defensive team. Just wait till my front five. It's ridiculous. So he's going to help out the back because he just works his socks off as well.
Yeah. And he's like you mentioned, like people how they interact with on Twitter and stuff, and Rio does. So there's Trev more than any. I just think the way he talks to fans on Twitter, and clearly he still has West Ham very close to his heart. Big fan of the show, so we'll get a retweet now because you put it on. We've had him on, and even for example, so since lockdown, they've put these sort of stickers of legends around the outside of the ground. And I went there one game, and it was one game, I can't remember, it might have been Villa or something like that last game. And just to see, because obviously the people were taking snapshots, I'd be interested to see. And I took a couple of pictures for a couple of ex-players. And I took one for Trev, and he's like literally next to Bobby Moore, like right under the big screen. And I texted to him, there you go, mate. And he sent me the most incredible, heartfelt text message back. And it's like, that's just, he was just so flabbergasted that he's on there. And it's like, he took me back because I just thought, clearly the man still loves the club, and
that's really cool, isn't it?
It was amazing, and there's a couple more, but he just came back, and I was just like, oh my god, I
saw him when I first moved up with my job. So 5.5 years ago, I think I mentioned earlier, I lived in Media City, rented a flat there for just over 4 years, and he'd often be in and around Media City, so I saw him a few times. But it was that thing where I was like, I don't want to disturb him. Like, I'd see him in the local little supermarket or walking down, and I always wanted to say something, and I never did. So I don't know if he'll listen to this, but Trev, thanks, mate. yeah, he was brilliant.
He will listen. But then again, like as you said, that sort of time, football players did go to the supermarkets, and they were, it was exciting to go. Nowadays, that's one of my big gripes about doing from doing the show. One of my big gripes is that footballers now seem to be so professional that they don't pop down to the co-op to get a pint of milk now, so you don't see them. But even I remember Shaka. I used to work in Safeways in Loughton.
I remember I've seen a clip of you talking to him about that.
Honestly, and he was so taken back, and it was like it was him. It was literally every Friday he would be in there, and you'd see his head because he was so tall. And then we had Samasi Abu, and he'd come in with his shopping, and because I was GCSE French, that's all I could muster, and just sort of said. And then we had. And it sounds a bit Alan Partridge, but I once saw Paul Kitson in a Woolworths with a big bag of pick and mix. But it's just
that is very Partridge.
As you said, seeing Trevor Sinclair walking around Media City or around Salford area, you're thinking. Also,
he's always dressed beautifully.
Yeah, turns himself out nice.
Yeah. So you look at him and go, "Oh yeah, nice." Not many people can rock one of those flat caps.
Yeah.
I'd look ridiculous in one of those. So he rocks it.
I had one once. I looked like a rock.
Oh no, I'd look ridiculous.
But Trevor looks cool. Blind as extra. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
We haven't got a good act for him. I'll just throw that one on. He's in the background. Right. Okay. So Trevor is in. Okay. Let's go. The other wings. We're on the left end of that diamond.
Joe Cole.
Nice.
But I don't want him wide left. I want him playing in the middle.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a diamond, because Joey Cole, I loved him. I loved the first time he was there. I loved him so much.
Yeah.
I was gutted when he left, and I was also gutted. I know he had an amazing career and he did brilliantly, but I just felt it wasn't wasted on the left. But under Mourinho at times, it was just he's so creative, and we'd get the ball with us, and you'd think that something's going to happen, and he'd either do a Maradona or a turn or a Cruyff turn, and he'd go, and his shirt would be untucked, and he'd have his tongue sticking out a little bit, and he's off. Whereas it felt like I'd watch him at Chelsea and then a bit later for England, and it was like he was coached to go for it and then be like, don't do that stuff, keep the ball.
Yeah.
And he was still amazing, and this isn't digging him out, but I loved it when he had that freedom. I'd put him in the team and be like, get the ball, do your stuff. You can change the game for us. Go and do it. And I was so chuffed when he came back. I know by that point, different type of player, and he was older, but just he was awesome, and the fans loved him, and it was so exciting when he got the ball. His close control, and even watching him when what was it, that competition that we won when he was super young, that goal.
It was the FA Cup. It was the FA Youth Cup, wasn't it? When we beat Coventry 9-0, in aggregate 8-0.
I mean, too good. He's too good. He had a terrible haircut as well, a bit like Declan Rice.
He did. Yeah, you're right. He had a very similar Rice-esque sort of bowl. Weird cut, doesn't it? Yeah.
Right now, his hair's dead smart, and he's dressed and he speaks sense. I think he's doing really well as a pundit. It's been nice to see him.
Speaks really well, doesn't he? Speaks really well.
I remember seeing him the first few times, and I didn't feel like he was nervous, but I think he's grown into it and got more confidence with his punditry, and I think he does a really good job. And it's great, and he clearly cares about the club as well.
Yeah.
Loved him as a player. I think he seems like I've never met him, but he seems like a really nice bloke too. So in there.
No, you're right, and I think you're right. When he was at West Ham the first time, that was I think that was his best in terms of being creative. Because you said, I think you're right. I think Mourinho did knock it out of him, and actually we were talking the other day. Someone said, England hasn't had a player since Joe Cole, and you think about it and go, yeah, you're right. Like that sort of maverick. Obviously, before him, you had someone like Gaza and you had Joe Cole, and you haven't had anyone like him since. And I think it's because, as you said, kids are trained now to be a position, and where Joe was the free role, you don't get free roles in football now. Even Hazard was on the left. It's you don't get that, and I think it's detriment because you lose that excitement that he had. Even Grealish sort of doesn't have that sort of, he's not a maverick player. He sort of still has his sort of position he has to play, and it's a shame because it'd be good to have someone like that just to throw him on. Maybe Ben Rama might be this. But then we're going to put him on the left, aren't we? That's just going to put him. That's what we're going to do.
Also, that goal that Joe Cole scored for England against, was it Sweden?
Yes,
they're beautiful.
God bless him. Right.
Yeah.
So we've got Sinclair, Joe Cole. Who's the next one? Who's the
Right. So honourable mentions first of all for midfield.
On
I
him.
think Collison, Mark Vivian Foe, I thought was amazing for us.
Great shout. Yeah.
And I loved Ian Bishop. Loved Ian Bishop so much.
Good old friend of the channel. Another friend of the channel, Bish Boshes. God bless
Is
him.
he?
But yeah.
Well, I thought he was amazing. I remember we'd go to away games more when I was younger. My dad would take me and we'd go to Highfield Road and we'd go to Villa Park. And I remember watching him in the midfield and he was class. And he had his really long hair.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I say, Scotty Parker as well. But the top, so in that creative tip of the diamond, it's a bit controversial, but I'm going to say Dimitri Payet.
But everyone says it. Everyone's literally. I think Dimitri Payet is not the most picked, but maybe with the modern era, he's probably one of the most picked players. And everyone always prefaces it with, "I'm gonna a bit controversial," but he was an amazing player.
He was ridiculous for us, and it's the last time pretty much I'd get like, you're excited, right? He gets the ball, and you thought something was going to happen, and he could do everything. He looked slow, but he had such quick feet, and he saw a pass and he took free kicks and he was so skillful. He was just absolutely class. And that year, obviously, it was the last season at Upton Park. And it was my first year living up here. And I got to go to quite a few away games. So I went to Anfield when we won 3-0. And we hadn't won there for like 52 years.
No, exactly, yeah.
So that was great. In fact, I jumped up so many times that I got home. I was like, my knees are a bit sore. I took off my jeans. And I'd cut my knees on the seat in front. I had blood all down my legs. It was ridiculous. So I went to that game, and then I went to Man City when we beat them 2-1.
Yep.
And then this was the best. I don't know if you were there. Goodison Park when we were 2-0 down. Lukaku missed a penalty.
Yeah.
And I went to all of them on my own. But in most of those, but certainly the one at Goodison Park, like the bloke next to me, I have no idea who he was. We were hugging. But he's what I think about with that's, you think about loads of things. Last game at the Bowling, but Dimitri Payet was unreal for us.
He was, and what I like about Payet as well is he was. I mean, I think it's probably fair to say, Ben, he's probably the last time we're going to have a Ballon d'Or nominee in our team.
Yeah.
Maybe you never know. But he was just class.
Jared Bowen this season, mate.
Benrahma, that's who the ones. That's it. He's gonna come on this year, leaps and bounds. No, but you know what I mean. He just seems like he was just such a good player, and he was just amazing to watch. And yeah, the way he left, but those types of players, they're just impetuous and they throw their toys at the pram, and that's the other side of them. Arnautovic and people like that. They're the same type of. But he was brilliant, and as I said, if it weren't for him, we wouldn't have had that season. That last
season. Exactly.
So we're all thankful for that. But all right, we'll put Payet in. Right, who's next? Right, that's the 4 in it. Now we've got the 3. Now
we've got 3 up top. So we go wide left first.
Yeah, go on then.
Is this the most attacking team?
I love it.
He probably shouldn't be playing here, but Paolo Di Canio is going to play there.
He'd play anywhere.
Anywhere, right?
Yeah.
And again, similar to Joey Cole, Dimitri Payet. Well, first of all, his character. He loves the club.
Yeah.
Heart of a lion, gave it everything. The fans loved him. Ridiculously talented. Maverick, the goal he scored. Well, how many? You can name so many ridiculous goals. That goal at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
Unreal. The goal, obviously, against Wimbledon. I remember watching that at a golf club with my dad, and he weren't allowed to wear football shirts, and he had to wear proper shoes. And then it gets floated into the back post. Di Canio does that, and we were like, and they're running the golf on the belt. Yeah. Quality. Absolutely. He's got a screw loose.
Yeah.
Absolutely quality.
Yeah. And he's entertaining, wasn't he? He was entertaining. Yeah. And now, and I've said it before on some previous videos, but when now you get entertained by trickery, by someone doing a Rabona or whatever, he would do that, but also you'd be entertained by the man himself. It's just a personality, and that's what I think we miss in modern football. Those sort of personalities, sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was a top bloke, Paolo, and you'd pay your season ticket just to watch him. And as you said,
he'd do things where he'd just be stood there with the ball at his feet, and he'd just mess around, drop his shoulder, drop his other shoulder, flick his foot out, and then he'd do that. That goal he scored against Arsenal, and he gets a few lucky ricochets, but you make your own luck a little bit. He was just He was
It's
brilliant.
like that Arsenal goal just epitomises. It's an incredible piece of football. You know, he made arguably the Premier League's strongest centre-back pairing, and their goalkeeper looked like they were schoolboys.
Yeah.
And he did it with his shorts on backwards because he was superstitious about you know, you just see it. And someone mentioned it to me, and I look back, and yeah, you just see the pony and the thing on the back of his shorts. It's like,
I don't even think I knew that.
no, I didn't know that until. But go back and watch it, and you'll see he's got his shorts on backwards because he was always unlucky. Yeah, because obviously you're unlucky, so you turn your shorts on backwards. That's what I mean. The man's. That's why we love him. That's why we love him, man.
As well, this would probably be controversial. I know some people are like, "Oh, Harry Redknapp." Harry Redknapp is one of my favourite managers for us because he's the first manager I remember.
Yeah,
I remember being in the car on the way home from school. We got picked up, and it was my friend's mum driving, and we were just getting on the A38 in Devon when it came on the news that he'd left, and I was absolutely gutted. I remember sat in the back right seat. It was 19 years ago. I remember it so clearly, and he gave loads of those players that kind of freedom to, like, they've got to have a manager who believes in them. And Di Canio, if he felt loved, I think he was just different class.
Well, I think that's why we took. I mean, we've obviously spoken about him quite at length, but I think that's why he has this affiliation with West Ham, because we resurrected his career. Do you know what I mean? He'd pushed off a referee, and I still think that, you know, if he didn't go to West Ham, you wouldn't have put him in the same category as a Thierry Henry, a Zola, a Bergkamp. Di Canio's part of that conversation now from his West Ham days. He wasn't that when he was at Sheffield Wednesday, you know, so it just seems I still think there's, because of his affiliation with West Ham, that's why he took to West Ham fans so much, and that's why we love him, because he still does. You know, he's got West Ham. I love anyone with a tattoo. I utmost respect. I'm terribly phobic of needles, and he has a West Ham tattoo, so fair play.
And, you know, there's a great song about him as well.
We love a song, don't we? Same as Payet and Joey Cole, and
West Ham Magnifico is unreal. So
it's just amazing. I love him. Right, okay, Paolo's in. Who is next then, Ben?
Right, I know he didn't play for us much, but I'm going with Carlos Tevez.
Yeah.
And similar to what we've said about some of those other players, when he wanted to, and most of the time for us he did, and then he certainly did at United and City, worked his socks off, never stopped running, gave it everything. Obviously that year, the back end of that season, when we stayed up and he scored the winner at Old Trafford, he was ridiculously good. I think I went to his first game. I think that their first game was against Aston Villa in the September at home, and we drew 1-1. Tevez and Mascherano, and I was at that. We drew 1-1. I think Bobby Zamora scored one off his shin from a corner or something. And at that point, you'd never have thought that we'd have such a diabolical season and then somehow turn it around, or they'd have that much of an impact. But, you know, I was looking last night at all the West Ham players who've played in the Premier League.
Yeah,
he hardly played any games, but he's so important to kind of our history and
He's sort of like he was. I think, to be honest, he only turned up for half a season with us, really, but the impact he had, and it just seemed, you know, he just brought this impact very, very quickly. And we've interviewed players who were playing around that time, and he really wanted to embed himself within the sort of the club culture. Didn't want to learn English, though, for some reason. Mascherano did, apparently. So much so that I think Anton tells a great story of they were at some London nightclub and Carlos turned up, but he turned up with his interpreter. So he's on the dance floor with his interpreter. And you can imagine doing some, Argentinian tango, drenched with sweat, trying to communicate to Anton and the rest of the gang. That's why we love him, man, because it's just, I love that stuff. But
you just kind of, when I picture him, there aren't many players. Most of the players that we've picked out here, you see them in claret and blue, right? Whereas with him, was it I don't even know if it was our second kit, the third kit, the dark blue one.
Dark
see him
blue.
wearing that, which is obviously the kit we wore when we beat United at 1-0. But so there was something special about him in the back end of that season. So he's
And obviously the fact is, again, affiliation with West Ham, I don't ever remember seeing a player coming back to play for another club who had such an ovation. And even when we played, like someone reminded me the other day when we played we had Argentina with like an international at Upton Park, and he came on and he wasn't playing for West Ham anymore, but there's like Messi and he came on to this standing ovation. It's just like, incredible. All right, colleagues.
People who'd kiss the badge or give it that, this, and it would feel.
No one did it until he came back, until he played for Man United. Apparently, there's pictures in the 60s, the 70s, 80s, and people did that when they signed for the club. But no one did that crossed hammers, I can remember, until Carlos did it for Man United when he came back to us. And then everyone does it now. It's like... Right. Let's put Carlitos in. So there's one more spot. Spot.
So I thought about Tony Cottee, and we've spoken about him already, but I can't really remember Tony in his pomp, obviously.
Yeah.
And I remember him playing for Leicester more, and like after he left us again.
Yeah.
Thought about John Hartson, because Hartson and Kitson up front in kind of whenever that was, mid-90s, unreal. And I really like John Hartson. I've never met him, but he seems like an amazing... I know he's done this. He seems like an amazing bloke, and I love his accent as well. He's quality. But up top, I'm having Dean Ashton.
Dino.
Got to be Dino. I wish we had him now. I wish he was playing up front for us now.
He would actually he would do a good job, because that Antonio role, isn't it?
And I remember one of the first games he played for us. It feels like it was one of the first games he played for us. And it was at Upton Park. It was on Sky, and I was in like Bovey Tracy, which is where I grew up, and watched it in the pub. And it was like he won every header.
I know Bovey Tracy. I used to go to Bovey. We used to do Bovey Castle. We used to do it at work at my old job. We used to do it as a summer. I love going Bovey Castle. But was it Bovey or Bovey?
Okay. That's where we lived for a long time.
Carry on.
So I remember he just won like every header, and he had good touch. He was great in the air. He clearly cared about the club. The overhead kick he scored at Old Trafford, like the goals in the FA Cup final. Brilliant. I wish he hadn't, obviously, probably him more than me, that he hadn't got injured. But and then I thought it was a nice story as well, because when I was at uni, it's my second year, I was really bored of writing essays, and I was just about to turn 21, and I was so bored of writing essays. I'm going to write to Dean Ashton, which is like something you do when you're 9, right? So I wrote to him and was like, Dean, you're my favourite. I know this is a bit weird. It's nearly my 21st birthday. I'm really bored of writing essays at uni. Massive West Ham fan. Think you're brilliant. Gutted that you got injured. Can't wait to see you back. If there's any chance that you could send me like a signed photo or something, I'd love it. Yeah. I mean, it's a bit cringeworthy even thinking back. Anyway, a few months went past, and then one day I get this post, and I don't recognise the handwriting on it. And it's been posted in like Peterborough or something, I don't know. I opened it up, handwritten, second-class stamp in the corner. I have no idea what this is. Anyway, it's Dino. And he's written back, and I've got it upstairs framed. And it says like, "Dear Ben, the club didn't pass on your note in time for your 21st birthday, but hope you had a good one. Only photos available at present, Dino." And it's him in that, who were we sponsored by? XL or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, him in that shirt with his ridiculous bleach blonde hair, signed photo with that note. And then the year after, last game of the season, we played, I think it was the last game of the season after. We played Middlesbrough when they'd gone down. I think Southgate was still in charge. Yeah. And Jack Collison was playing, and he was great. And I met Ray Winston before the game, and we had a photo, which was quite cool. But Dean Ashton was there in the car park. And there were loads of people just giving him stuff, sign this, like sign that. And I just waited and he got through everyone, and then he just kind of looked at me, and I think he thought, what the hell does this guy want? Because I didn't want him to sign anything, and I was just like, "Hey, Dean," and he was like, "Oh, you're right." I said, "Listen, I just wanted to say thanks a lot, because I know it's a bit weird, but I wrote to you last year when I was at uni, and you wrote back. I didn't expect you to write back. You wrote back, and he said something like, 'Yeah, Cardiff Uni, right?' And he remembered."
Yeah, nice.
And I was like, yeah, I've never seen him since, but I just thought that was such a nice touch, and he clearly cared about the fans and the club, and he was great, but he could have been so good. He was too good for us. He could have played for anyone, and got loads of caps for England and scored loads of goals. So I'm glad that he's doing well with his punditry and that side of his career. But yeah, I loved him. And I still, how many years is it later? And I still go, oh yeah, Dean Ashton.
Yeah. What could have been. And I think with Dino, it's funny. It was only, I didn't really think much. I always think he's in my 11 as well. But I was thinking about it when we signed Bowen. I had the same level of excitement when we signed Bowen as I did when we signed Dean Ashton, because he was like young, hungry British Championship player. You know he's going to come on and play his art out of mustard. And Dino was the complete striker. I don't think we'll ever have one like him. England, let alone West Ham, because he could do it all, wasn't he? And it was just a shame. It's such a West Ham thing that he gets hobbled by. I think he's the smallest player to play for England ever, and even now, if Sean Wright-Phillips comes on the telly, I can't watch it. It's really weird. It's like poor kid did nothing wrong, but
nothing. Yeah, no.
But just typical West Ham. But
typical, it really is. So yeah,
and that's the 11.
That's my 11. It's pretty attacking, isn't it? I think we'll concede a lot of goals, but we'll score quite a few.
You'd be first on match of the day. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Sometimes positive, sometimes negative, but it'll be entertaining. Ben, man, it's really been lovely. I really, really appreciate your time. I know with the, with studio time and stuff, it's all really, really busy. So, to take an hour and 20, God, I really, really appreciate your time, man. It's been great.
Hey, no worries. Thanks for having me on. Sorry that I chewed your ear off for most of it.
We love it. We love it. We love it. People love a long episode because, well, until recently, people would listen to it and it'd be like an hour or so, and that's their workout. Now, obviously, now after Thursday, you won't have that. But they take the dog for a walk or whatever. But it's all good. But no, thanks, man. And obviously, thank you to everyone for watching. If you've been watching on YouTube, like, share, subscribe. If you're listening to it on the podcast, on Apple Podcast, Spotify, I can't remember it. Google Podcasts, Alexa, play My Hammers 11. All of that will work. Give it a like, give it a share. For me and Ben, take care, everyone. Stay safe, wash those hands, come in your wines, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.